I just kind of cast it as, oh, he's losing his marbles. Had I known, I think I would have handled it better. I think I would have been a much more patient person. I think my father would have felt way less alone.
Hey, this is Mary. The Marvel world was rocked when news broke that Ryan Reynolds was out. Fans couldn't believe it. How could one of Hollywood's biggest stars be dropped from such a major franchise? Marvel Studios has always been known for keeping its A-list actors, so losing Ryan felt almost impossible. But things took a shocking turn when filmmaker Justin Baldoni came forward with what he called receipts. His revelation was tied to an ongoing feud involving Ryan's wife, Blake Lively, making the situation even messier. Rumors had been swirling about tension between Ryan and Marvel executives for some time. However, after a controversial film project involving Justin and Blake, those whispers became full-blown speculation. At first, it seemed like a creative clash between Justin and Blake, with power struggles behind the scenes. But Marvel's sudden decision hinted that Ryan was far more involved than anyone realized, enough to risk his entire future in the billion-dollar franchise. To understand how it all unraveled, we need to go back to the beginning. Justin Baldoni had built a strong reputation for crafting emotional, crowd-pleasing stories. When he took on the challenge of adapting a beloved novel, fans were excited, especially with Blake Lively in a leading role. On the surface, the partnership seemed perfect. His heartfelt storytelling and her star power were a match made in Hollywood heaven. The promotional clips only added to the anticipation. But behind the scenes, trouble was brewing. Insiders claimed Blake was frustrated with Justin's involvement. Not only was he directing, but he also co-wrote the script and was set to play a major role in the movie.
I'm also more honored that because, what we're talking about is so important and so meaningful, that we're able to have this much anticipation, and so many people want to go see it and are talking about it. Like, that's what I'm grateful for.
And you had a key part in bringing it to the big screen. How did this all come to be?
Well, in 2019, I read the book. I was sent the book by my book agent and friend at the time, and I was looking for films that could inspire, that were commercially viable, but also could really reach in and touch somebody's heart.
Hollywood is no stranger to behind-the-scenes drama, but on this set, tensions escalated at an unusual pace. At first, it seemed like typical creative differences, with rumors circulating that Blake Lively felt overshadowed by Justin Baldoni. Some claimed she believed he was taking too much control, both on and off set. What started as whispers of friction took a shocking turn when Blake publicly accused Justin of sabotaging her reputation. She alleged that he was behind leaked reports painting her as difficult, demanding, and temperamental. At first, the industry leaned in her favor. It wouldn't be the first time a male director had used strategic leaks to undermine a female star. Social media exploded with outrage, branding Justin as controlling and overbearing. But then, the narrative flipped. Justin's team released text messages that directly contradicted Blake's claims. The messages show that Blake had been making her own power moves, issuing demands, influencing script changes, and carefully shaping the film's marketing. In these conversations, she even referred to her powerful Hollywood allies, including her husband Ryan Reynolds, as dragons, implying she could call on them if she didn't get her way. This revelation cast serious doubt on her initial claims of being sidelined. Instead, it appeared she held significant influence behind the scenes. Meanwhile, Ryan's involvement remained a mystery. Was he actively supporting his wife's agenda, or was she simply invoking his name? Fans speculated, especially since Ryan had stayed silent on the controversy. But that changed when more messages surfaced. These new leaks directly implicated him, revealing discussions about undermining Justin's authority and shifting public narrative in Blake's favor. Ryan, known for his humor and likability, suddenly didn't seem like a passive bystander. The messages hinted at private calls with industry power players, strategic leaks aimed at discrediting Justin, and suggestions on how to frame Blake as the real victim. The idea that Ryan was more than just a supportive husband, possibly a key player in the feud, sent shockwaves through Hollywood.
I mean, I internalized that as opportunity. We had such a responsibility to this audience to deliver something and to have the opportunity to deliver something for a passionate group of people.
Yeah.
As someone who is so deeply passionate myself, I was so excited about that. I would so much rather have that than people who are indifferent.
For a while, the focus of the drama was entirely on the growing dispute between Justin and Blake, with Ryan's involvement in the mess taking a back seat. That changed when Justin made a surprising announcement. He had new, undeniable evidence to back up his claims. These weren't just rumors or hearsay. Justin had time-stamped communications and digital proof that Ryan was fully aware of the smear campaign aimed at Justin, designed to shift the narrative in Blake's favor. Word quickly spread that Justin was preparing to release this evidence, and Marvel executives grew anxious. Ryan had become a major player in the Marvel universe, and the possibility that he might be involved in questionable behind-the-scenes tactics was a serious concern. The stakes were high. Marvel's relationship with its top stars is essential to the success of its billion-dollar franchise. And if Ryan's actions were seen as unethical, it could lead to serious backlash from fans and fellow actors. Then, the bombshell dropped. Marvel executives met to review Justin's newly released evidence. While it wasn't immediately made public, sources say it painted a damning picture of Ryan's role in manipulating the press to discredit Justin and push a narrative that aligned with Blake's grievances. The records went even further, suggesting that Ryan and Blake were using their industry connections to exert pressure and advance their personal or professional agendas. The revelation was enough to make Marvel act swiftly. In an unexpected move, the studio decided to part ways with Ryan, ending what was once a promising partnership. Marvel's official statement was unusually blunt, stating that after reviewing the new information, Ryan's position with the studio had become untenable. Fans were left in shock, questioning how a beloved actor could be dismissed so abruptly. While the public was buzzing with disbelief and questions, Justin kept a level head. He didn't gloat or attack Ryan and Blake. Instead, he released more detailed logs, laying out the timeline of events. Justin clarified that his goal wasn't to vilify anyone, but to protect his own professional reputation and the integrity of the production team.
She said, just read it, because I was looking for movies that could be commercial and speak to the human experience. And
Were you reading romance novels?
And I had never read a romance novel.
Never?
And she said, just trust me, read it. So I read it, and by the end of the book, I couldn't even read the text on the page because I was crying so much. My wife was in bed next to me, and she's, I got snot coming out of my nose.
According to Justin, the released messages demonstrated undeniable intent to undermine him as a director and content creator. His stance echoed the message he had expressed from the start. If disputes arise, the correct way forward is open communication, not covert campaigns to smear or sway the press. At this point, attention on Blake increased, especially when her attorney sensationally cut ties, citing irreconcilable differences with her version of events. Onlookers wondered if she had pressured Ryan to intervene, or if they had both shaped the plan together from the beginning. Rumors about the state of their marriage spread, sparking speculation that their public alliance was really a partnership focused on tightly controlling their image. Regardless of the truth, the receipts revealed a new layer of complexity. It wasn't just about Blake wanting more creative control. It was about orchestrating strategies to make Justin appear inept or unyielding, a portrayal not supported by the uncensored text logs. Ryan, typically quick to respond with humor, went notably silent on social media, posting only generic or promotional content unrelated to Marvel or the film fiasco.
And being frank, if it were not for women giving me direct feedback in my own personal life and being a man who was willing to at least listen to them, there's no chance that I would be having this conversation. So the message, to answer your question, the message is very simple. As men, we need to embrace all of the parts of us that make us human. That's it.
It is.
It's very simple.
Observers found this uncharacteristic. In past controversies, Ryan had often addressed issues head-on with a cheeky response, putting fans at ease. But with Marvel's decision to part ways now public, such an approach would likely have backfired. Sources close to him claim he was in crisis mode, figuring out how best to restore a public persona that had taken a direct hit. Marvel's decision resonated throughout the entertainment world. Studios watch each other closely, especially when it comes to handling contract disputes with A-listers. The fact that a media titan like Marvel dismissed Ryan suggested that the evidence of wrongdoing was undeniable, or at least severe enough to outweigh the substantial profit he might have generated for the brand. This set a clear warning for other actors. Star power is not an impenetrable shield against accusations if the underlying allegations threaten the integrity or public image of the franchise. As the dust settled, opinions in Hollywood became sharply divided. One camp argued that Marvel overreacted, calling it an extreme step. Couldn't the collaboration have been salvaged through PR damage control or carefully worded apologies? After all, Ryan was a major box office draw. Others saw Marvel's decision as an overdue stance on accountability. If a top-tier star like Ryan had indeed conspired to manipulate the narrative around a respected director, That kind of behavior undercut the fundamental principles of professionalism. Some within the industry privately voiced relief, stating that manipulations orchestrated by powerful couples had lingered unaddressed for too long. The argument was that if Disney's superhero arm, the most formidable force in pop culture, held Ryan accountable, it could lead to broader reforms discouraging behind-the-scenes manipulation in other high-profile productions. For Justin, the immediate sense was one of vindication. He insisted that his real goal was never to punish individuals, but to bring to light the behind-closed-doors maneuvers that threatened his creative vision.
It's believing that people and humanity are inherently good. And they crave nutritious food in their soul, just as they do in their bodies.
Some saw Marvel's firing of Ryan as an unfortunate outcome, while others believed it was a necessary step to restore equilibrium. Crew members, including production assistants and camera operators, quietly expressed relief, recounting how conflicts were often inflated into elaborate grievances, only to later appear in rumor columns. To them, the new receipts validated concerns that something more organized was at work. By this stage, Blake had retreated from public engagements. Once known for frequent social media posts spotlighting her family life, she shifted to near radio silence, fueling speculation that she and Ryan were scrambling to manage the turmoil. Those within her orbit suggested she was devastated by Marvel's decision to remove Ryan, interpreting it as a personal blow. Others close to the situation claimed she was doubling down, insisting Justin had exaggerated or twisted the narrative. Yet with so much evidence in circulation, her attempts to frame Justin as the antagonist now seemed flimsy. Fans who had initially rushed to defend her reversed their stance, citing the released logs as a sobering wake-up call that the real story was far more complicated. Meanwhile, broader media coverage dissected every angle. Talk shows debated whether Ryan could rehabilitate his standing or if his comedic brand, once seemingly impenetrable, had sustained permanent damage. Movie analysts noted the irony of Marvel, famous for forging tight bonds with its leading actors, being forced into a very public split. Some pointed to the possibility of Ryan finding a new comeback story, a narrative arc beloved by Hollywood. Others, more cynical, argued that the rift with Marvel might be too significant to recover from quickly, especially given how thoroughly this incident had permeated news cycles. Behind the scenes, other production houses weighed the risk of associating with Ryan in the immediate aftermath. Countless projects had been in development that counted on his broad appeal. Now, executives wondered if continuing those plans would drag them into controversy, especially if more evidence surfaced tying him to questionable dealings. While an eventual rebound wasn't impossible, Hollywood is well known for reinvention. A period of cautious distancing looked inevitable. Industry reporters who had covered earlier controversies saw parallels to other stars who faced swift dramatic falls from grace. One key difference, however, was that Ryan's comedic persona had given him an everyman charm, and the public rarely sensed malice behind his witty banter. But the messages tying him to what critics called a smear campaign against a well-liked director forced fans to reconcile that comedic persona with the possibility of complex behind-the-scenes manipulations. Justin, for his part, again tried to shift the focus back to the film itself. Despite the spectacle, he reiterated that the heart of the adaptation rested in the source material's emotional depth and universal themes. Crew members who remained loyal to Justin appreciated his resilience. He never used the fiasco to portray himself as a hero. He stuck to the facts, letting the documents speak.